Well, good morning and welcome to City Talk. It's a weekly radio program, it's a podcast, it's a TV program. That here at the City of Waco, we like to share information that I think you'll be interested in and learn more about your city services and things. Joining me today is Ashley Millard, who is the Solid Waste Department Outreach Administrator. Ashley, thank you first of all for joining me. You are now taking over, actually following in the footsteps of Anna Dunbar, who is recently retired, but you're the one who's going to be continuing to educate and inform everybody about what's going on with solid waste. I count solid waste as probably the second after water, but the most important thing citizens expect out of their government, their local government. Get the trash picked up, pick it up and get rid of it, and that's all. And you do that, we're happy. Same way with the water and the sewer. As long as that's taken care of, we're good to go. So, real quick, before we get into the subject we're talking about, we're going to be talking about Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day coming up here on March the 20th, and what you can and can't do in the different cities in the community that are going to be participating. But real quickly, I mentioned about how important it is for solid waste services to pick up the trash. The winter weather week that we had, unbelievable, 205 hours of grip on the city, shut down the solid waste department as a whole. Talk about how that really impacts, because I know your people, your staff that you work with, they're dedicated to get that trash picked up, but weren't able to do it. Talk a little bit about that.
So, yes. So the bad weather, the freezing temperatures is really what did us in. We have diesel trucks, and so when it gets below that freezing mark for several days, I mean, we saw some temperatures as, the highs were 7 degrees. Some would get down to, 0. The way the engines run, diesel trucks do not run well in cold weather. You have to add additives. By the time we were able to get into stores to get some of those additives to add to the trucks, shelves were, completely gone. So we've made some safety protocols for future instances like this, because we know it will happen again. Yeah. Maybe, hopefully it won't happen as bad, but we'll be more prepared. Just not being able to run the trucks to come pick up your trash was a big issue. Now, when it did start warming up, we were still having issues with that heavy truck machinery sliding around on the roads. And it's not as easy to stop a car, when you have, over tons of weight sliding around. Yeah. So it was a safety issue for our drivers, a safety issue for residents. And, we just worked really hard to be as transparent and open about the way we are running, cancellations, rescheduling, things like that. And we worked really well with the city of Waco in getting that message and word out. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, and you all then, basically missing the whole week, had a lot of trash, and trash continues to accumulate with a lot of people staying home and getting rid of the things that they had bought at the grocery store or whatever else in anticipation of this. But you all did an amazing job of reshuffling the schedule like you talked about, and getting the trash picked up the following week. 2 weeks worth, frankly. Talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get into our subject.
Sure. So we kind of just broke the ordinance for the following week after that we were allowed to, or were able to get back on the road and service your homes. Generally our guys, since COVID hit, we don't get out and pick up extra bags. We had guys getting out picking up extra bags, and I'm so sorry. Didn't think to put this.
It's okay. Just keep talking. It's okay to go to sleep.
Okay. Yeah. So we had guys getting out and picking up extra bags. We also made it possible for you to put extra bags in your green carts. We highly discouraged using the blue carts because that will contaminate. But the green carts, that's just for brush waste and things like that, and that just goes to the shredder. We had lots of residents very happy that we were, giving that a possibility to use an extra cart, because we were seeing, people having multiple bags on their curb, and of course wildlife is still around.
Yeah,
so
right. Yeah, exactly.
You don't want them to, get into those bags and creating more of a mess for you.
But you all did an amazing job, and you got it all collected, and you're basically up to speed now. And you did have to cancel the green and the blue recycling things, but now back on schedule again, and everything is pretty close to ready.
Right, we are back on schedule. We had to cancel those things just so we could catch up with the trash because, Monday and Friday routes are our biggest routes. We service over 11,000 carts during those 2 days, and canceling and trying to reschedule those and still including the waste and recycling was a huge issue. And so just being able to free up some of those trucks to help out with the extra, really, we caught back up in a week.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's great. All right, let's talk about our subject, and we want to talk about it. You all, Solid Waste Services, is providing a Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day. And it's going to be coming up here March the 20th. It's going to be from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. out at 501 Schroeder, out there where the Solid Waste Administration offices are, right under the big water tower that says Baylor Country or whatever it is, right off of Highway 6, Loop 340 out in that area. And it's for the cities of Hewitt, Belmead, Lacey Lakeview, Woodway, and Waco. First of all, explain why only those cities, and then we'll talk about what can be brought and why we're not letting that stuff hopefully go to the landfill.
Sure. So these cities agreed to help pay for some of the offset costs. We would love to have it open for everyone, but it is very expensive to get rid of these hazardous materials in the proper way.
Rid of, yeah,
right,
exactly.
in the proper way. And we bring in chemists. We bring in, multiple vendors around that recycle these products when you give them to us, so they don't just end up in a landfill or get illegally dumped. So we're really grateful that we have those partnerships with the surrounding cities that agreed to do this. It will be a very big event, seeing as how we were unable to have it in 2020 due to COVID.
Right.
So we are expecting a longer lines than normal, but we have developed a way to kind of speed up that process. We have a pre-registration form online. Right now we're up to 144 responses, which will make it easier. So when you come up, we'll have a group of ladies, try to register you on the spot. We'll need your address so we know what city you're from so we can bill that city correctly. But if you have all that information in our system before, it'll make a super speedy process to where you can just come in, our guys will unload your trailer, and then you can just exit.
Let's talk about the kind of things that we're now going to accept on this particular event, and that we do not want to go into the landfill anytime. Not throwing it in the trash, and making it so nobody knows what it is, because these are things that contaminate the landfill, and it's just not a safe situation. Talk about the kind of things that are available to be collected at this particular event.
So at this event, we try to pick up as much as your household chemical products that we would not want you to generally put down the drain or place in your trash. For those two reasons, put down the drain, it can contaminate the water. And if you put it in the trash, it can contaminate our landfill. We do have a really extensive permitting process with the landfill to where it's lined very well. But if you put those hazardous materials in the landfill, it could potentially leak into our water system, and that's no good for anyone. So these are the reasons why we don't want you to put we want you to bring your materials to us so we can properly dispose of them. Yeah. Things like automotive oil, filters, batteries. We want to keep the batteries out of the landfill for several reasons. They could explode. We don't want an explosion in our landfill. They weigh a lot. Just some of the chemicals that are used in batteries are just, it's not good. Radioactive.
Acid. Some of them have a lot of acid and things, yeah.
Some household cleaning products that you shouldn't put down your drain. Bleach, things like that. Gardening products, pesticides, paint products, and then of course household electronics. We'll take all electronics of, all everything. The one thing that we aren't taking this year that we normally take are scrap tires, just because we just had a scrap tire day. You can always use Cobb's Recycling to take your tires there. You can bring up to 4 at a time off the rim, and there's just a small fee.
Well, tires are always an issue because, number one, they attract, they collect water sometimes, they attract mosquitoes, and they're just not a healthy situation to have around the house. But also, you don't want those in the landfill either. And so you all at Solid Waste Services do provide an opportunity with scrap tire days and things like that. And maybe in the future, the Solid Waste Household Hazardous Waste Day, will include tires. And I know different partners that you work with on those different chemicals and different disposable things. It's a great partnership of people working together for the common good of keeping it out of landfill and doing the right thing. That's bottom line. Yeah. So, okay, so is that pretty much the extensive list of the types of things? Now, you mentioned paint because paint is one of your biggest commodities that you get, and it's really interesting how they process that because there's obviously lead-based paint, and then there's the
latex.
Latex, yeah.
You've got the oil-based paints,
yeah.
all kinds of stuff, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Latex is a little easier to process or get rid of at your home if you don't feel like you need to bring it or just can't bring it to our Household Hazardous Waste Day. We would suggest that you just pop the lid off, let it air out, and dry. Then you can throw it away in your trash. Or you can mix it with kitty litter. But the other paints, it's almost impossible to have them air out, especially like oil-based and things like that. So we have we're using Clean Earth to help get rid of some of those extra paints that we don't necessarily have a way to dispose of correctly.
But I know because I've been to numerous of these events, and I see where they open the cans and they pour it into one big old 55-gallon drum or whatever else, and it makes the most beautiful gray color. And now do y'all make that available from time to time, or in the past I know you had?
Yes, in the past we've always worked with Habitat for Humanity Restore. We have a group of 10 or more of their employees coming, and they'll mix it, and they'll take the good latex paint and resell it at their store. So it's a good upcycling project that we can partner with, and we won't have to pay the fee to get rid of it. Yeah. They can use it to
makes a good undercoat and a good
exactly.
It might even be a good color to use on the walls and things, because it's kind of I call it a navy gray, or just a really nice neutral gray that will go with a lot of things. So a great opportunity to, like you say, to recycle it into use and rather than losing it. And one of the things that I've always found, and I learned this years ago, everything we buy someday will be either in a landfill or have to be disposed of, no matter what you buy. You may keep it 150, 200, whatever, but it will someday end up in a landfill. And when it comes to paints, one of the best things you can do is, before you buy it, figure out how much do I really need. Because so many times you'll end up buying a gallon and you really only need a quart or even less. And so there you have the leftover that many times ages out and it's not useful to you anymore. And then you have to decide how you're going to dispose of it.
Exactly.
And so those kind of things are things that need to be thought of before you actually buy them and when you buy them. Yeah.
I do know that several projects that, especially during this COVID era, we saw, people redoing their homes and buying extra paint. And of course, we get the phone call, what do I do with this extra paint? And of course, we try to, have opportunities to where they can take it elsewhere. You can always take it to Cobb's too. But just trying to find like nonprofits that would maybe need this paint. We love to upcycle as much as possible.
Absolutely.
Another item that I left off the list are bulbs. So if you have big fluorescent bulbs, bring them to us. We will get rid of them properly. Batteries Plus and bulbs is one of our other vendors, and we would love to keep those types of things out of landfill as well. Sure,
absolutely. If you just joined us, we're visiting with Ashlyn Millard, who is the Solid Waste Department Outreach Administrator for the City of Waco Solid Waste Division, our trash division, if you want to call it that way, but so much more than that. And we're talking about the Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day coming up here March the 20th. It's going to be out at 501 Schroeder, where it's always been every year. And it's an opportunity between 7 a.m. and 1 p.m. for the cities of Hewitt, Belmead, Lacey Lakeview, Woodway, and Waco to properly dispose of the things that we've been talking about. Now, we've named pretty much all the things that you're going to accept. Let's get more specific, because you mentioned no tires, But what other things are you not supposed to bring to this event that really it's pretty difficult to decide how to get rid of it, but you all can at least help let them know how to do something. But we don't want them in the landfill. That's the main thing.
Sure. So we aren't taking business or industrial waste.
Okay.
Just because this is really for residents.
Mm-hmm.
This is a residential
Right.
event. Biological or radioactive waste, we're not going to take that. Ammunition, explosives, fireworks, compressed gas cylinders, gasoline tanks, smoke detectors, and of course industrial dioxides and containers larger than 5 gallons. So if you have some of those chemicals, keep them under a 5-gallon container. You can bring as many containers as you want, but we cannot take more than, the 5 gallons. Specifically because the guys that are unloading them, it's just hard to move around.
Yeah, exactly right. So all those things you want to keep out of, but you're giving the opportunity for a lot of the things that we know we deal with every day, and we want to take care of doing them properly, and that's the main thing. So because, like you say, a landfill is very costly to create and very highly regulated, and we want to do the right thing and manage our waste and give our citizens the opportunity to do the proper thing and take the effort to do that. So we do ask you to take advantage of this opportunity if you're in those cities we name, and we'll name them again in a minute, March the 20th, and do the right thing and don't put them in the trash and be a community partner that's like this. Now, you've mentioned several times Cobb's Convenience Center. We talk about that all the time. That's been there for a long time. It's in the area where all the renovation and changes of the city and the county are working in partnership with the Waco ISD and things. And there's talk about possibly moving that, maybe not. But talk about the Cobb's, because that offers year-round opportunity for a lot of these things to be brought, because I've taken several televisions and electronic things and computer monitors and stuff over there myself. Took a piece of furniture over there that I'm ready to get rid of. Talk about what that Cobb's Convenience Center does and what it offers as far as every day. So if you don't want to wait for Household Hazardous Waste Day, you can still take it over there.
Absolutely. So what's amazing about Cobb's is if you just have your standard regular household recyclables, glass, tin, paper, cardboard, anybody from anywhere can bring that there. We try to encourage keeping those things out of the landfill because it takes up space and we can recycle them. Number ones and number twos plastics. For Waco residential, you can bring bulky items up to 4 times a year. We prefer that it remain under 2,000 pounds or, 8 cubic yards, I think is the measurement that they prefer nowadays, as well as brush waste. So you don't have to make that trip all the way out to the landfill, especially like most people have free days on Saturdays. Those lines can get rather extensive, and the landfill hours are cut significantly on Saturday. So bring them to Cobb's. You can also bring, appliances with Freon.
Without Freon.
Well, you can bring it without Freon. If you bring it with Freon, there is a small fee, so we can detach it and send it to the right place.
So in the old days, when you first started that, we had to get rid of the Freon ourselves and then bring it there.
Right.
Whatever. But now you all provide that service. But there's a charge for that.
It's a $15 charge.
Yeah, okay.
It's, small.
Minimal, yeah.
Most people don't know how to take the Freon out, but they still need to get rid of their broken refrigerator.
Exactly.
So they did start allowing you to bring those kind of items. Bulky waste, including like couches, lots of furniture. So if you're moving, we prefer you not to put it out on the curb. Take it to Cobb's.
Yeah.
And we'll help you even unload it.
Yeah.
I do know it's one of my favorite places to go.
Well, and the staff over there's always been so friendly. I've been there several times, like I say, at least 3 times a year, maybe not the 4th time. But every time I go out there, the people are always so friendly and helpful, and they do. And the other thing is that you cannot put glass in your recyclable at curbside. And so glass is recyclable and can be thrown away properly. So you just bring it and maybe box it up or bring it over to Cobb's and just go over there, and all you have to have is your water bill or something like that.
You have to have proof of identification and a water bill. Yes, with the glass, if you just put it in a cardboard box, they'll even recycle the box for you, unless you specifically want it back. My family and I recycle glass, at least once or twice a week. So,
well, it's one of those commodities that we would like to do at curbside, but we can't because of the danger, because it gets fractured inside, and for the hazard of when the people are sorting it and doing the things, it's just not compatible with the tin and the paper that you are able to mix in the blue recycling card, but the glass is not.
Right, we just don't have the infrastructure to keep to pick up that type of material.
Right.
As well as our local MRF does not accept glass, but we do have a really good partnership with Strategic Materials, and so they would love to take glass off our hands.
Yeah. Well, recycling again works, and it's the right thing to do.
Right.
I keep saying that because it is. It's just the right thing to do. So, okay, now we're going to depart from the Household Hazardous Waste Day, but you all have been providing city council district cleanups throughout the year, and we have one more coming up that is getting ready to happen, coming up here on March the 13th. It's for City Council District 1. Talk about that and what people can do and the hours and when they have to put their things out to the curb.
Sure. So, like you said, we have District 1 coming up. It's March 13th. We will run trucks starting at 7 a.m. that Saturday. We encourage you to get, all your things out to the curb that Friday evening, because we would hate for them to drive by your house and your things not be out and they think there's nothing that you want to dispose of. Yeah. They do several runs through the routes during that day. So if you can't get it out at, that Friday evening, just try to get it out as best as possible. We do have ladies that are in the office that will take phone calls. We ask that you separate your brush from your bulky, because those are two separate trucks that pick that up. 6 feet apart, preferably, especially if you have larger brush piles. Now, we will let you put, the maximum amount of brush that you have. You don't have to stick to the 4x4 ordinance. Mm-hmm. That's the one awesome thing about these district cleanups. We're just going to pick it all up for you.
Yeah.
We still prefer that you kind of go by the guidelines with the 3-inch diameters, no tree trunks or stubs, and cut it down, short as possible, 4 feet. So if you have, we had one home had stacks upon stacks of 30 feet and longer of bamboo. That was a new one that we dealt with. Yeah. So if you could get that cut down, we want to pick it up. But there's just some things that we just can't do safely.
It deals with the type of equipment you're needing and having, because you're doing this with curbside pickup type thing, and people are hand picking this up. This is not coming with a big claw type thing.
Right.
And picking that up. So you have to think about the labor and the workers that are providing this service, that they're coming to do that. So that's going to be for City Council District 1. And if you don't know where your City Council District is, you can go to our city website, waco-texas.com, and just go to leadership, and you'll find what each area is. And there's a little map there that will kind of define which District 1 is. And you all do this twice a year, really, or at least once a year, because we're wrapping up now and finishing up, and then we'll start again in the fall. Is that right?
Yes. So this is actually our third year of running this type of program, and we've, the first year we did it sporadically throughout a calendar year. Well, we were noticing during the summer we were missing out on some residents because of vacations. Also, our guys were drenched in sweat, because you're right, we're not just using a claw. We're physically out there picking up your things and putting them into a truck. So just trying to avoid heat exposure and things like that. It's just a lot easier for our employees to do it, during the cooler season. Some things that you can't put out on your curb: no tires. Now, when we finally get past this whole COVID transition, we do partner with Keep Waco Beautiful. So once we can come back and have those volunteers help out, they try to, go to the houses that are requesting, help to move their items to the curb, and we will pick up, or they will pick up recyclables at that time. So things like tires, metal products, things that we can keep out of the landfill, but still get rid of for you.
Yeah.
It's a great partnership. Some other things that we won't pick up: Freon, freezers, anything with, that kind of material in it. No liquids such as paint, construction materials. We didn't think we were having to put that in, but because we had so many people stay home and you decide to redo their home, we had a lot of construction materials left at the curb, and that's just something we can't physically pick up. The bricks, the concrete, and dispose of properly. We want to keep those heavier items out of the landfill so we can properly use the landfill for trash and things like that.
Exactly.
No pool chemicals, hazardous materials, or pressurized tanks.
Same kind of things that you may or may not take at the household hazardous waste day.
Right.
But anyway, that's really great, because I know the reports I've seen coming out of the district cleanups that we've just been describing, that the District 1, again, is coming up on March the 13th. You've had literally hundreds of tons of materials that's been picked up on that particular day, where the effort about the staff and the teams and the trucks and everything are just focused like ants on a picnic, going to District 1 and covering all that and picking it up between 7 in the morning and 1 o'clock or something like that. Is it all day or what, all that?
So we used to promote from 7 to 3. Basically, we will fill up the trucks as much as possible, do a pass at the landfill, run back out again, fill up, do a pass at the landfill that closes at 12, and then we will run again until it's full, and we'll have to, dump the truck that following Monday when the landfill opens back up again.
Well, it's an amazing amount of trash and things that do accumulate, but it's an opportunity that the city provides to all 5 city council districts once a year. Throughout, and so you can watch all that. Now, I want to talk real quick about the curbside app that you've got. Really neat communication device. Talk about that. We've got a couple minutes left, but because on that, you'll get the little push outs and information delivered to you to remind you. I get it all the time. My pickup is on Monday, and I get it on Sunday night, I guess it is, or sometime. Reminds me to get my trash out, because tomorrow they're going to pick it up.
Right. So this app is a really cool app. And it targets your household. What's really neat about it, and some people are like, well, I don't really want to put all my personal information in this app. What if it gets leaked? You don't have to do that. We just ask for your address. And once you put in your address, it'll give you the date, or not the date, your pickup day. It'll also link you into our calendar, so it'll let you know what is actually going to get picked up. Monday is a holiday.
When is my trash going to get picked up?
Exactly. Yeah. You'll also get special alerts for, like, when we just had this weather, and it'll go directly to you. You don't have to jump on the news stations or call the city and figure out when they're going to. You'll have it all on your phone. It'll also let you know for special collection days, like Household Hazardous Waste Day, when your next district cleanup is. And, even the special stuff that we try to get out for the community, like the styrofoam pickup day with Friends of Peace and Climate, rainwater harvesting classes with Keep Waco Beautiful. Some outside sustainable things that you can do will also be plugged into this app. There's also a portion on there, what cart takes what, and what can I put in that specific cart. It really is. It's just a neat app, and
And how do they download it?
You can go to it's available through Apple and Android, so you can go to Google Play or iTunes and download it. It's free. Okay,
and what do they search for? What, City of Waco or what?
It's called the Waco Curbside app.
Waco Curbside app. Great information. Ashley Millard, who is the Solid Waste Department Outreach Administrator, has been with us on City Talk, telling us and reminding you all that coming up here on March the 20th, from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. for the cities of Hewitt, Belmead, Lacey Lakeview, Woodway, and Waco, we're having Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day. A time to get rid of the things that you know you should not put in the trash for regular pickup and everything, and actually dispose of it correctly and get it out of there. Ashley, thank you so much for everything you do, and thanks for being with us this morning.
Oh, thank you for having me, Larry.
And we want to thank all of you all for joining us again, and hope you'll join us again next week for more information about the City of Waco here on City Talk. This program is produced by the Municipal Information Department of the City of Waco and is provided as a public service by this station.